Good day, ma'am, and to my dear classmate. For today, I will be discussing the lesson 10, which is the sex and senses. But before that, I'm going to give some information about sex and senses. So, sex refers to a biological and psychological characteristic that define human as female or male. This set of biological characteristics are not mutually exclusive, as there are individuals who possess both, but this characteristic tends to differentiate humans are female and male. When we say senses, it is a faculty by which the body perceives or external stimulus, and one of the faculties are the sight, smell, hearing, and taste, and also the touch. So, let's come now for the lesson objective. This this lesson we will be discuss the human senses in the context of sexual response and show the appreciation of how the sensorium contributes to our experience of human sexuality. So when we were children, we were taught about the five bodily organs, which correspond to our primary senses that we use to explore and experience the world around us. Our eyes are enabled for sense of sight or visual, as our nose naman is enabled to see sense of smell or the olfaction, and our ears is allow us for hearing or the auditory. Our our tongue naman is covered with taste buds so that allow us to sense of taste or the gustation. And also our is skin and muscle and joints which allow us to sense of touch and feelings. So this is our five primary senses: the the sense of sight, smell, hearing, taste, and the touch or the feeling. We come now for sense of sight or the visual perception. It is the ability to interpret the surrounding environment through photopic vision, color vision, scotopic vision, and mesophic vision, using light in the visible spectrum reflected by objects in the environment. This is different from visual acuity, which refers to how clearly a person sees. Sense of sight is a vision occurs when the light is processed by the eye and interpreted by the brain. Light passes through the transparent eye surface, or we call the cornea. It is the ability to perceive color, brightness, depth, and this sense is considered to be the one of the most complex in the five human senses. So we come now for the sense of smell. The sense of smell or olfaction, when you say olfaction is the sense of smell, it is the special sense through which smells are perceived. The sense of smell has many functions, including detecting desirable foods, hazards, and hormones, and plays a role in the taste. Detects and determines odors as well as social cues which influence or enhance responses. The olfaction system of humans is found to be weak or as compared to animals. However, it seems to be very precise. Next one is sense of hearing. The sense of hearing or auditory perception is the ability to perceive sound through an organ such as ear by detecting vibration as predict changes in the pressure of a surrounding medium. The academic field concerned with hearing is auditory science. Sound may be heard through solid, liquid, or gaseous matter. The sense of hearing is one of the most important senses. The ability to hear enables us to connect to the world for many very important reasons, even in vital of a person. Hearing is a complex, it retrieves a series of action and reaction to work. This process involves many parts of the ear working together to convert sound waves. Next one was the sense of taste. Taste, also known as gustation, is a important sensation that allows people to identify nutritious food and enjoy flavor. This is a complex sense involving many organs and tissues such, such as tongue, roof of the mouth, throat, and nose. We have a five basic senses of taste. We have five basic tastes: the sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and umami, or the meaty. So the last one is the sense of touch or feeling. Our touch or tactile sense, when we say tactile, is something associated with touch. It is a sense that most people are reasonably familiar with. It is one of the five senses you would have been taught about in school. The touch sense responds to anything that touches the skin. Sense of touch controlled by a huge network of nerve endings and touch receptors in the skin known as the somatosensory system. Sensorium. When we say sensorium is the totality of those part of brain that receives, process, and interpret sensory stimuli. The sensorium is the supposed seat of sensation that place to which impressions from the external world are conveyed and perceived. The sensorium also refers to the entire sensory apparatus of the body. These five senses compress our sensorium, the totality of our sensory experiences and perception. While we receive information from our environment through the senses, our brain has the ability to organize and interpret these numerous stimuli into meaningful ideas that are useful for our choices or behavior. Next is human effect and the senses. We have here the limbic system. So first, I'm going to have introduction. Interestingly, while human beings are hailed as rational beings who are constantly making choices and are behaving through a set of rational choices made for the higher order thinking. Example is the evaluating and the judgment. It is the hypothesis that our affect uh, can be can be emotions and feelings actually play a major role in our behavior. So the human limbic system has a big impact on our um, emotion and feelings, and also when we are evaluating or judging. We affective primary hypothesis postulate that in many cases cognitive processing or the higher overthinking plays a lesser role compared to our emotional responses in eliciting behavior by virtue or this hypothesis. By default, our emotion take a precedent primarily because these are the only processed and modulated by the limbic system. the emotional part of the brain, which is more primitive compared to ones responsible for higher order thinking. This is where the sensorium and human affect meets. Here, it will help us to think of a particular case, imagining walking in the woods with your friends when you all of a sudden a venomous snake drops down in front of you. So, how will you respond in the situation when you are walking in the woods with your friends and all of a sudden there are venomous snakes drops down in front of you? As a part of mechanism from evolution, human like us have three primary emotion response, which is the fight, flight, or freeze. When we say fight, it is a response when we face adverse or dangerous stimuli, squirrel. And this would mean grabbing the nearest solid object in the environment and throwing it to the snake to say shoo or to shoo the snake away. When we say naman fight, it is a response when we a flight rather it is a response and when we move away from adverse of dangerous stimuli. This would mean running away from the place, finding a new route where the snake cannot find you. The third one is the freeze. The response, on the other hand, is when you are startled and are unable to make a choice, thus are unable you to move. Sometimes the freeze response can also be used to buy time so you can calculate the advantage and disadvantage of your choice. Shall you fight the snake or fly away from the scene? So the limbic system has a major role in our decision. We need to think first ng mga bagay na pwede nating gawin before we do it. Kasi kung ano yung iniisip natin, yun agad, kung ano yung iniisip natin, yun yung magiging response sa limbic system natin and yun yung magiging move ng katawan natin. So in making decision, we have the fight, flight, and freeze. That's all po for part 1 of the sex and senses. And yung second part po is na kay Jay Borilla. Thank you po.